Hello everyone, it is Sharie from Sharie's Painting. So today we're going to be painting fall maple leaf. So right now I'm just putting black, hunter green, and lime green on the canvas. This is just the first base coat. It doesn't really matter how you do it. Basically I want the right hand side to be a little lighter than the left hand side of the canvas. So I'm just sporadically adding it here, but we will be doing another coat. So don't spend too long in one area as you may end up lifting the paint. And we want to let this completely dry before we go on to the next step as well. Please do paint your edges on the canvas. It just makes it look a little more finished, and I will be back with you for the next step because we will be putting on another layer. So here we are going to give this another coat. So I'm adding a little more black, a little more green. I just want it a little darker on the left hand side of the canvas. I'm holding the plate with my paints on it, so yeah, so my painting's kind of going all over the place, but anyway, so just adding a little bit of black, hunter green, and some lime green. And I'm basically just using dollarama paints. So, you know, we really don't have to go out and spend a whole schwack of money on paint. So I'm adding more of the lime green there to the left, just because I want that area to be a little more lit up than the rest. So the next step, we will be using some chalk to draw our maple leaf in. So you can get that ready, but just make sure this is completely dry and that you finished your edges. So I'll see you back here on the next step. So for this next step, you'll need a piece of chalk, and I did shave mine on the end just to have a sharper point. And I am drawing the maple leaf now with the chalk and making it nice and large and drawing a few extra leaves at the top there. I may change those shapes a little bit, but basically just drawing the shape of the maple leaf. Dropping my chalk as I do that. But the photo is on Pixabay if you guys would like to download that as a reference photo for yourselves. And the next thing we'll be doing is blocking in the leaves. So we'll see you on the next step when you're happy with your design. So the next step here now is to block in the leaves. So I'm using fire engine red here, and I've mixed it with a little bit of black, and I'm going to block in, or I'm blocking in the leaf toward the back. That one is a little more shaded than the ones at the top. So I've used a little bit darker with the black and red mixed together. I'm not really worrying about the points on the leaves just yet because I will be defining those later, and I may also be changing the shapes a little bit as well. So now I'm mixing the yellow and the brown together to do the leaf beside that leaf. And I'm going to block that in. And this is just a base coat, so we don't really have to worry about the direction of the stroke or anything. And if you want to make any adjustments on your leaves, now would probably be the time to do that. So I'm just going to block this leaf in now with a little bit of yellow and brown, cinnamon brown mixed together. And the yellow I use is quite light. So, but again, this one is going to be in a little bit more shade. So just block that in quickly and finish that up. And then we're going to go on to that next leaf. So that one is pretty much taken care of. And now with the other leaf, I'm going to go in with a bit of a brighter red because it's going to be a little more exposed to the light than the other two. Again, if you're wanting to correct the shade of your, or the shape of your leaves, now would be the time to do it. So now I'm just going in with the straight red, and it's working out quite dark because we've got that dark canvas underneath there. So by the time we're done with that leaf, though, it'll be pretty much in the on the lighter side of things. I'm also adding a little bit of a green hue to that one because you can kind of see the green, and the greens that I've used are hunter green and lime green, so which is the same as what we used on the actual canvas. And now I'm going around with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orangey color, because I want this leaf to be a little brighter by the time the sun will be hitting that leaf as opposed to the other ones. I may have to darken up that one in the middle a little bit, but we'll see what it's like after it dries, because once it dries, it goes a little darker. So now I'm doing the stem, and with the stem, I'm painting the brown and red mixed together, and then we'll go back and we'll highlight that stem after. And now I'm going into the leaves, and again or the big leaf here, I'm using all the colors, and you can really do your own thing here, because it's not set in stone how a fall leaf is going to look, but you can use oranges, you can use reds, you can use yellows, but we're getting a darker base coat on first, and then we're gonna, add more colors as we go. I'm trying to mix them up a little bit as I go, just because with a maple leaf, it's got all kinds of hues to it, and all over the leaf. So I'm picking up the yellows, I'm picking up the reds, I'm picking up the greens, just to try and blend them all together so that we have a nice little base coat in which to do our leaf on. So here I've got a little bit of the yellow again, and I do go in again with some red at the end here, because these leaves here are quite bright. So that one I'm going in with a little bit of red. And the lovely thing about doing these paintings on a black or mostly black canvas like this is that when you're adding these colors, they just really, really pop out, and they look absolutely stunning when they're done. So again, leave a little bit of that base color showing through as well, and just try and blend as best you can. And I'm in some spots I'm using a little more paint than others, but I'm trying to just use the colors that are on my palettes, the reds, the oranges, and the yellows, and the greens, because there's always a hint of green as well at the base of these leaves. So know that you can pretty much determine whatever color you like, and maybe you would like to do more of a bold leaf. I like mine sort of a subtle leaf. I'm making the little round edge there for the leaf, and I will be highlighting that little area because that's where our veins and everything are going to come from on that leaf. Here I'm adding a little bit of green again, just enough to give it a hint of green underneath when we go back in and put a second coat on. We will be doing quite a few layers on this painting, just to get everything to show through, but the leaves at the back are mostly sort of one color, really. I am putting a little bit of a darker color on the one leaf, the leaves that you're seeing me do now, and I will be putting a darker color, or have already put a darker color on that other leaf that's hanging down there. But once we get all this on there, we'll be able to better determine where and how our shadows are going to go. We'll also be putting points on the leaves as well. Again, just a nice little blend there, blending together. Now I'm going back to the other leaf, and I'm just going to brighten that one up just a touch. there, just adding a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of green and orange in there as well. And then, like I said, we will be going back. It's still pretty dark though. It's in the shadow. The one next to it, I'm going to be adding a little bit more orange, and it kind of turned out a little bit pink, but I will be adding a little bit, or I will be adding another layer to that one as well. But I just wanted to determine the actual shape of the leaves. I've also added a little bit of green as well. So they're all, and that one again is a little bit brighter. The one on the end there, I'm using the straight red again, because that one will be the bright one. And then I am going to come in here with a little bit of yellow on the tips of that one as well. So just to brighten that up already, and then we'll see how it works out from there. Like I said, it depends on, what how it looks after it dries. So for the next step, we are going to be getting rid of those chalk marks, but I'm putting another coat there on that other leaf, and then I'm putting a highlight on the branch there. So we'll see you in the next step. So I decided that I wanted a little bit of that lighter green. So what I did in the background, so what I did was I took a dry dry filbert bristly brush and dipped it in a little bit of lime green, then dipped it on the paper towel, and then you scrub really hard. And I did that in the background as well as on the bottom and at the sides, just to add a little bit of extra to the background of the painting, because I really felt like it needed a little bit of something more to it. Then what I'm doing now is I am going in with a little bit of red paint, and I'm just going to do that leaf on the right hand side at the back there, and just add a little bit more red to that leaf just to make it show up a little bit more. And I'm blending it with red, orange, and a little bit of yellow, but mostly red, and just, so that I can distinctly make out the edges on the leaf. Now I'm going in with a little bit of yellow just to add a little bit of highlight to that edge again, just making sure that it's very distinct there. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of orange and a little bit of yellow again. And just to, again, sharpen up those edges and give it a little bit more life. Now I'm going to the back leaf, and I'm adding a little yellow and white mixed together on the corner there just to make it stand out a little bit better. Again, I want those edges to be very crisp and clear, and I'm blending in all the colors as I go so that I can so that everything is distinct there. And when you're blending the colors, just blend one right into the other. And I'm adding a little bit of green here as well. And mainly the colors are red, orange, yellow, and green, and white. And just, this is just another extra layer that we're adding to these leaves so that, it's, so that they're very distinguishable. So again, adding a little more yellow and blending it in with that red. And I will leave a little shadow under the other, where the other leaf starts, just so I know where to go from there. So again, very distinct edge on there. And just going right around that edge and then blending it together. going back in here now. I'm going to brighten this one up a little bit. A little bit of yellow on there. And just to give it a little more life. And another layer, mixing it with orange as well, the yellow and the orange, just to give it a little more brightness. And making those edges of the leaves distinct so that you can see them. And I'll leave a little bit around the edge there for shadow as well, which I will add in probably on the next round. Also putting on a little bit more green as well. And adding in as I go. Now I'm adding a little bit more brown to it. It's just layer upon layer upon layer. Now I'm just highlighting that edge of that leaf there with a little bit of yellow. Again, just to make it stand out a little bit. And you guys can use whatever colors you want for this. You know, as long as they're fall colors. Going in with a little bit of red now just to blend it all together. It's going to look lovely when it's done. And now I'm going to go in, I'm going to do the same thing with this leaf. You know, use your colors, use your yellows and your reds. The tips of the leaves are going to be quite yellow, and it'll show up very lovely against that dark background. And you want to blend things together. You want to blend one color right into the other. So, you know, and it just gives it life. So now I'm going to go in with the red. I'm going to blend that in along with it, along the edge there. Just making sure my edges are very distinct. And I'm going to continue doing that throughout the whole leaf. And just putting a little yellow again on the tip. And just blending it all in again. And again, a little bit of green, just to add that green color and that green hue in there. And the layer underneath this layer just gives it that little bit of extra. And on this one as well. And do that one more of a red. And it will look absolutely stunning when it's done. At least I hope it does. So again, a little bit of orange there, just to blend that in a little bit. And do this as quick as you can, because you know you don't want to spend too much time on one area. And I tend to jump around a bit. I'm sure you guys have noticed that, but I tend to jump around just so I can, you know, do each area differently, and it doesn't get so monotonous on the leaf. And again, I'm just highlighting and putting in those sharp, bright edges on that leaf. And then I'll be blending it all again together with that red and the orange. Just love the colors in this painting. It's really so bright and lovely. Again, just making sure that those edges are well seen, adding more red and more red. And like I said, sometimes I tend to go over it a little bit too much, but I just feel like I'm pretty, I just want them to be all kinds of colors. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to do that back leaf with the lime green, just to give it a little bit of life back there and a little bit of light. And same here. just to give it a little bit of life. And then I'm going to finish off the edge of that and blend that red in with the green. Add a little bit more there. And now what I'm doing is I'm going to add some veins in here now, because I need to see the direction of, you know, how I need to lay out my highlights now. So, I mean, I'm not quite done with the leaves and distinguishing the edges, but I just felt like I needed to add these now just so I know. So I just used a little bit of cinnamon brown and just give it a few little veins here and there so I can see where I'm going with this. I want to make sure I'm getting them in the correct direction. So I'm not putting all of them on yet, but I am laying down some of them just so I know where to go and what direction to go in now. Okay, so there I've got starting with the veins, but we're going to be doing that too. So now that I've established where the veins are, now I'm going in and I can sort of work around them now because I have a good idea of where they're placed. So, you know, I'm adding a little bit more brightness there to these leaves and outlining where they go, as well as adding into the other leaves. But this way it gives me a good idea of where I need to, how I need to form my colors next to the veins there. And then we'll be going in and highlighting those as well at the end. But for now, I'm just going in, finishing up the rest of these leaves. And like I said, use whatever colors you like. The greens, the oranges, the reds, the yellows. And, you know, feel wherever you feel there needs to be brightness. The edges of the leaves are going to be where the brightest parts are going to be. So here I am, I'm just highlighting in here again. It's just another layer on top. And that way, you know, the edge of that vein is very distinguished. So we'll be adding the veins on the next stage. But once we get all of these leaves, a little bit more highlight there, a little more highlight at the top there. But I mean, it's starting to look absolutely beautiful here with all those colors. So I'll just continue doing that and going around to define all the edges of the leaves. And then, like I said, I'll be adding more of the veins afterward as well, because it has a lot more. Plus, we need to add the veins in the leaves as well. So, you know, just continue working around that leaf and adding the highlights to the edges of the spikes on the leaves, and that's what I'm going to continue to do here. Just adding a little bit more highlight around the edge there. Again, a little bit more red, and try and blend it all in with what we've got there. Adding a little bit more green again, blending it in so that you can't tell the difference from one to the other. A lot of blending here in this one. I didn't realize that it was going to be quite this long, but you know, like I said, it'll be completely lovely when it's finished. So I'm just going to say, you know, continue going on and highlighting the edges of the leaves to be yellow, and then I think I will meet you all back in the next portion. So continue just highlighting and, you know, go underneath those veins so that you know where you're going and what direction you're going into. Here I'm highlighting the back. Sorry, I haven't left yet, but Here I'm highlighting the back again, just adding a bit more of that green in there, just so that it's, and the red as well, so that, you know, those edges of that leaf are very, very distinguished. And again, a little bit of highlight at the top there to make it look, like the sun is hitting it a little bit there. Usually I don't do my highlights till the end, but this particular one, well, I'll probably actually put on another highlight, but so here we go. We're just continuing on with those leaves and, you know, blending the greens and the oranges and the yellows together and just distinctly putting color in wherever we want. It's just layer after layer, everybody. And, you know, here I'm going more with the yellows on this side and the oranges, and then just mixing the red in and just giving it that little extra pop in there. And then mixing it back into the dark piece there. But, and again, in here, just the edges of those leaves, just make them really pop. And going around the edge there. And that particular leaf, I just wanted a little bit of highlight on that edge because it's a little somewhat falling down there, but I think I may just end up leaving that until the next step. So everybody just continue on putting definition on your leaves, and then because it's an individual thing, and then I will meet you back here for the next step, okay? So by now we should have wiped off our chalk marks with a wet paper towel. Just lightly do that and wipe off all the chalk marks. And now I'm going to go in and accentuate those veins a little bit. I am using a script liner brush here and just putting a little bit more brown and a little bit brown with a little bit of black mixture, and just, you know, seeing where those veins might lie in there. Just a very light touch, and if you twirl your brush and mix it with a little bit of water, it comes off your brush a lot easier. I also did brighten up the leaves in the leaves at the top right corner of the painting just a little bit, just to make it look like they were also in the sunlight, and I'll be adding veins to those as well here in a second. So all in all, just try and keep the shape of the leaf, and then we will be adding some highlights here too. And I have gone in with a little bit of red again and added some extra color in there as well. It's turned out quite lovely, this little painting. I also added a little bit of yellow to the background as well by using my round brush and a dry round brush, dipping it in a tiny, tiny bit of yellow and then smudging it on the canvas and dry brushing it out. So now I'm just going to go in and do those back leaves with some veins as well. And do those. And, you know, you guys can take your time on this too. You don't have to, it's not a rush. It's not a race. You know, take as much time as you need. Just pause the video to whatever, for however long you would like, just to finish up your leaves. I'd love to see your work. You know, I mean, your guys's might be better than mine. So I'd love to see it and see how it looks. So again, just finishing up those edges or those veins on the leaves. And I'm just putting a little bit of more darkness on there. And now I'm in the white mixture, I believe. Or I used a little bit of the lime green just to do a little bit of a highlight on those stems or on the veins of the leaves. So a little bit of the lime green and, just to give it a little bit of highlight there as well. I will come in here with the white here right away. And again, lots of water. And when you're doing the stem that the leaf is coming from, just leave it a little bit darker at the base of, or at the bottom underneath that other leaf, because it's kind of in shadow. So now I'm coming in, I'm lightening up with the green a little bit. And it's turning out quite lovely. So again, just working on those veins. And now I'm coming in with a little bit of white, just to add a little bit of, a little more highlight in there, just to make them really show up. Now I'm adding a little bit more red, just to make it pop a little bit more in there. And this is a lighter red. The other one was a deeper red. This is a lighter red that I've used just to make it pop and stand out a little bit more. And then I will be going in with the white, like I said. And again, in the back leaves. Just to make it stand out a little bit more as well. A little bit of orange in here too, against the vein, just to make that pop a little bit. Being careful not to go in that darkened area on the right hand side of that leaf. And going right to the base there. Now I'm going in with the white, or with the yellow, and I'm just adding a little bit of yellow as well. And then in a second, I'll be just splattering some of that yellow around. There you go. So just to give that a little bit of a, where the yellow might be in that leaf. On the edges, in the back there. No, just a haphazard form. Nothing too serious. Just wherever I felt like it might have needed it. And now I'm going to go in with the white. Just twirling it around, dipping it in water and making it like an ink-like consistency. And now I'm going to highlight a few more of the veins on the leaf, just to give it that little extra. There you go. Where the light might hit it, just to accentuate those veins a little bit on the leaves. And that white just makes it pop, so I love this part. And you kind of want a thin line as well. And in the back there. And on these ones as well. And, not everywhere, but just here and there. And just around that little circle. Give it a little highlight on that stem a little bit. And then just on the corners of some of those leaves where you feel the sun might hit. And I'm using very little pressure here as I'm doing this. So, and back in there, just in the places where the sun is going to hit those stems, or sorry, the leaves. And it's almost like in a dotted sort of fashion on some of them, just on the very edges, just to make them glow a little bit. There you go. Just around that edge and in there as well. Around the edges again. I sort of go all over the place, and like I said, you guys can stop the video or pause the video at any time just to finish that up. So just a few little finishing touches here, and then I'm signing my name. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe if you're liking what I'm putting up here, and I'd love to see your work. So if you would like, you can post it to me or whatever. So enjoy your day, and thanks for watching.